All right, here we go. Quiet! Roll 'em!
Bloodline was directed by Henry Jacobson and stars Seann William Scott, and it's a story about a serial killer who works as a school counselor, who's listened to all the children's problems and all the toxic family members that those kids have and those problems have, and he basically takes madness into his own hands. Basically killing people, and he records them while he kills them, and he wants them to express their feelings or sensations which they have when they do these things, when they hit their kids or when they rape girls or anything like that. So the movie was very interesting, put up. Like the first act was really interesting. You getting to know the characters, you get to know how he works, how his mind works as a character. That really does. It sets up the characters in a good way. But then in the second and third act, it doesn't do anything else. Like there's no overall arc in this movie for the characters. You just see this character, on his daily life, and then of course cops get involved because something gets leaked out and then trying to find him and investigate him. Those aspects normally in a killer movie like this are normally like the most interesting parts. But the way they executed in this movie wasn't very that interesting too, because the main problem is none of the characters get enough development to really feel fleshed out. Like they never really fleshed out those characters. Like, yes, even our main character played by Seann William Scott, who is the best aspect of the movie, his character gets only fleshed out like barely. Like him as the main character. I'm not saying we need to find out everything about this dude. There's some basic stuff that you find out to a character in order to be more invested. And they do that at the beginning, show a few stuff here and there, but then it's just completely like, yeah, no, whatever. And then we just see him do the same stuff over and over and over again. And like anything happens, nothing changes. It just becomes in the second to the last act all the same thing. It was kind of disappointing to see because it had an interesting promise. Like we never find out why he records the people which he kills. Why does he wants to know what their feeling or sensations are? Like they never went deep into the mind of the killer. And this is like some of the problems with those killer movies. Like if you have a killer, like a good one, like interesting one, like in this movie, that's the most important thing like to do. And the most interesting part of the movie is to debunk basically how his brain works, what makes him wants to kill those people. Like, we never find out why he's even doing that. And the explanation they kind of give, like, to flashbacks is kind of like, yeah, but that's not actually explored either. And then there's some kind of twist with another character involved, which was okay, but it doesn't explain anything. Like it sets up stuff, but they don't execute it properly. They just like leave it like, like you're supposed to forget it. But this movie is very family based, family, not like Fast Furious, but like still family. So it also shows, like, this was one of the other better parts too. Like, it shows what do people do in order to protect their family, in order to stay together as a family, because they have this idea of a family and they're not going to give that up for anything. So that was kind of interesting to see, the wife, how she deals with it. They just have a newborn baby, and his husband, she not knowing his husband is a killer, and then all this stuff coming back together again. The good thing is it shows what people would do in order to, like I said, keep this family picture, what they, present themselves as to be. That was a fun aspect, but like it still wasn't enough. Like this movie was missing something to give it like this fun, interesting killer movie. I'm not saying you gotta be over the top or bloody, gory. You have an interesting premise, you have interesting characters, but you don't flesh out the characters wide enough. The execution isn't always there. And after the first act, the movie becomes boring because, like I said, it repeats itself over and over, and they don't add nothing new or interesting or new set of characters in order like to make the story fun again. And it's a fine serial killer movie. I was a little disappointed because I really love, like, Silence of the Lambs is one of my favorite movies, and Hannibal Lecter is one of my favorite characters. Like, like stuff like that, like to really find out that's my most favorite scenes is just him and Claire and Clarice talking, in the cell, and just going back and forth and depicting their mind's brain of this, cannibal. See, that's the most interesting part. They never do something like that in this movie. And this is what I think was a problem. Like, you really, it would be so much fun to figure out what makes him tick. Why is he the way it is? You know, even if you have it in flashbacks, you know, flesh out more that flashback. You see, they never say it through dialogue. They try to show like to some, you know, quick flashback imagery, but it doesn't really explain. It just leaves everything kind of hanging in the air, and you're not sure, okay, is that now this because of this? The movie sometimes leaves stuff confusing, but it's still, it's a fine watch. So over main overall with the movie with Bloodline, it's fine. I'll give this movie a 5 out of 10. So thanks everybody for watching, and as always, see you next time.
Cut!